Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Putt.
Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome back to First Contact Radio. Thanks for being here again today. Today is the 2nd of August, 2016. We have a new moon today. New moons are new beginnings in the cycle. It's a new moon in Leo. Our sun sign is also in Leo, so today would be a double Leo day. So double Leo, let's remind ourselves in the tarot card, this is the picture that represents Leo. Remember, these are just pictures. Just pictures. It's a picture of a lion and a woman, and there's a yellow background. It's just a picture. It doesn't have anything magical about this. It doesn't have anything evil about this. It doesn't have anything about this other than a picture. And this picture tells us what's going on. It shows us that Leo, the lion, that we're in the phase of Leo. It shows us that our unconscious mind, the feminine aspect, or our imagination and creativity, is supposed to help tame the lion within ourselves. The lion is red here, showing that this lion, though very powerful, can be very aggressive and angry, has a lot of energy. We know that energy can be used in a positive or negative way. So there's a great source of strength and energy here with this lion being tamed by the imagination with this green wreath. The green wreath is things that grow, life. So she's using and helping him and the lion to understand that we can allow things to grow in life when we appreciate what life has to offer, and we can therefore allow that creative energy in us to keep creating life by simply using our imagination. Okay? So this is what Leo is. Leo is us bringing forth that within us, that strength within us. The strength of God is like a lion. That's a phrase I like to use because this is strength. This is all about strength, but we have to be responsible with our strength. We've all heard the phrase, don't know his own strength, and it usually comes after somebody does something where somebody was hurt, or some situation where a person, was stronger than the other. They didn't realize their own strength and a bad thing happened. We need to realize our own strength. We need to, instead of having somebody push our buttons so that we act in certain ways, we need to be the ones in charge of the buttons so we can act accordingly. Some of the aspects we're looking at here, we have Mars. Mars is exactly that red color. It's energizing, but we've got the Sagittarius arrow of truth. So shortly after midnight, Mars energized Sagittarius. So there's some truthfulness in the air that wants to get out, but it's associated with this energetic idea of Mars. So this truthfulness can get out, but there can be some anger attached to it. Anger probably because into finding out what's truthful, we found out there is a lot of lies around that truthfulness. As we get into the afternoon, Leo is going to now get into a nice, good, positive aspect with Saturn, which wants us to be focused, discipline our ideas and our energy so that we can do something productive with them. And then finally at 3:44 p.m., both the sun and the moon are going to be next to each other in a conjunction, to figure out what it is they need to do, how they need to act, what kind of energies need to be tamed, what kind of energies need to be let loose. All kind of questions that come there. Okay, so we got a new day, a new beginning. The new moon actually begins this afternoon at 1:44 p.m. 1:44 p.m. is the official time. That's California time. So if you're on the East Coast, that would be 1, 2, 3:44 p.m. Actually 4:44, excuse me. p.m. All right. Jewish calendar today is the 27th of Tammuz. 27th of Tammuz. The daily thought for today: home. A home is more than a house, it is a state of being. A home provides space and shelter, not just for bodies, but for the human spirit. Who creates this space? Mainly the woman. As it says, the feminine wisdom builds her home. That's from Proverbs 14:1. And finally, the space weather for today: solar wind 392.2 kilometers per second. Planetary K index right now is quiet. We have a coronal hole that, or a solar wind that should be hitting us from a CME impact. Okay, it says NOAA forecasts estimate a 65% chance of a geomagnetic storm August 2nd today, when a CME is expected to strike the Earth's magnetic field. A solar wind following close in the heels of the CME could boost storm levels to G2, moderately strong. By August 3rd, high latitude sky watchers should be alert for auroras. Okay, so we had a flare. It's going to result in some energy down here. It's going to increase this index up from a 2. That will be for sure once it hits. Got the large gash. It seems it's happening in the sun again. You can almost look at it as like two eyes, a nose, there's the nostrils, and then the mouth right here making a funny looking face. Alright, M-class flare possibility right now is still at 1. X-class is still at 1. Geomagnetic storm activity, we see it starting to increase. Mid-latitudes from 30 to 55. Upper latitudes, some is increasing, some is decreasing. So we're in that stable period right now until things get crazy with all the storm activity. And then again, we have Spock out in space with a curved lens, looking at the Earth, which you can still see is a flat Earth. I'm just saying, that's my thing. All right, that is it. UFO news is up next. Let's get to it.
This is the UFO news with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. Today I have 4 or 5 good stories for you. The first one is a compilation of sightings from the month of July. Can you believe that July is now in our rearview mirror? Went by quick. Seemed like it just started, and now here it's the end of it. All right, I'm just going to leave these for you to play, but we have a bunch of them we have going back to the beginning of July. East City Ranch. We have lights in France. We have UFO enters the Earth's atmosphere. Here we have the one above Mudgee, Australia. Another one over Daytona Beach. Charlottesville, Virginia. Okay, so we have a whole compilation of them there. I'm going to leave these because we've seen all of these before. I just wanted to make the link available for you so you can go back and check them out. Here we have a sighting that took place. It says massive golden UFO orbiting Earth, high definition, over a mile long. Over a mile long, okay. Pretty interesting. This UFO was seen on the live ISS cam today and was caught by Street Tap 1 of YouTube. The UFO is totally different color than all other surroundings. There's also a dark window, which is probably just things hovering there, totally ignored by the satellites. All right, so let's see if we can get to this here. There we go. Objects right there. He said it's over 200 miles away. See if we can get a little closer here. There's our objects in question. Video is 3 minutes 30 seconds long. You can check it out. See what you think of this. I am moving on. The next story takes us to Mount Washington. Here we have a UFO with looks like a feather in its cap. I know it looks like an antenna or something, but it looks like a cap with a feather in it, doesn't it? Investigators are probing whether climbers inadvertently took pictures of an alien spacecraft at the summit of a mountain. A witness has sent the images to the Mutual UFO Network for investigation. In the report to U.S.-based MUFON, the world's biggest organization, the witness said, "I noticed the object in the background in two photos that were taken of me and my daughter and her friend at the top of Mount Washington. When I zoomed in, both photos were taken by another person at the summit. Both were taken no more than 5 seconds apart." And the picture they got was this one right here. A little bit more of a close-up, but definitely some sort of object with something on the top of it. Not sure if I've seen stuff like that before. Maybe I have. Seen a lot. Let's move on to the next story. Next story takes us to Antarctica. Okay, there's a pyramid in Antarctica. Did you know there's a pyramid in Antarctica? Well, there is, right there. UFO sightings in Antarctica are believed to involve aliens flying around its old pyramid bases. Enthusiasts say the remote land mass, up to 3 miles long, buried various mysterious. Conspiracy theories say aliens lived in ice-free Antarctica a long time ago and believed because of a significant number of strange activities surrounding the icy landmass. YouTube channel UFO OVNI 2012 has been featuring an alleged alien-made ancient pyramid. Researchers discovered strange magnetic anomalies beneath the ice too. These unknown signals increase speculations that the continent holds signals or even life itself. There are rumors top officials in Nazi knew that aliens made the old pyramid. Aside from the pyramid bases, other apparent signs of aliens are several UFO sightings reported around the base. Some researchers believe these sightings could be aliens visiting their ancient base. An image that made the rounds on the internet shows evidence of military presence as tanks that seem to guard the alien crash site can be revealed in a zoomed-in image. All right, so here we have a 1 minute and 22-second video. Okay, so you want to check this out. Okay, so there's the pyramid right there. So let me give you a little bit of reminder of something here as we're looking at this here. Okay, I want to remind you of one thing here. Flat Earth. I believe that there's some reality to this. The fact of the matter is that Antarctica is off limits. There was a treaty that was signed in the 50s. Nobody can go back there. Prior to that, there were 7, 8 countries that were there trying to examine, find out what was there, found a tremendous amount of resources, talked about it being an amazing location for the future of the world, and then they all left. They all left. And so people have speculated why. Well, here we have these pyramids out there. There could be something going on because, as I said, there's a treaty. We can't go out there. But as Admiral Byrd said on CBS, that there's land larger than the United States completely unexplored, at least as far as we know. There could be a whole nother civilization living over there. We don't know because there's a treaty and no one is allowed to go over there. So, very weird, very weird. All right, and let's bring us to one last story for today. This here is from Google Earth. What we have here are 32 images, 32 UFOs in Google Earth. This was presented by ufologist Argentine Marcelo Izrota, perhaps the most complete collection of UFO images on Google Earth. All right, so the whole video is 19 minutes. You can go through and you just see different images that were captured. Discover. Go back and check them out. Okay. So I'm going to leave this for you to go back and check those out. Let's see here. See all the little dots, little things, little markings. So he has found quite a bit, that's for certain. Been discovered here. The question is, are they real? Are these things real? Well, that's the tricky question to know. So here's my 2 cents on this. Let's put 2 and 2 together here. Remember how I showed you the information about Google? Well, first, let's backtrack. Pokemon Go. Through Pokemon Go, I showed you that Pokemon Go had money coming into it from In-Q-Tel, which was a funding source that funds groups like the CIA and the covert operations. Okay, the same group also was investing money into Keyhole, which is connected to Google Earth. And then we certainly know of Eric Schmidt and Google Earth, or Google being involved with the Bilderberg Group. So it's quite possible through all of this that these aren't real. These are just images that somebody is sitting in a room placing there for people to go through and find so that they think that there's more on Earth than there actually is. Remember, there's a huge psyop going on. When it involves members of these covert operations, they are in those covert operations in order to do covert things. Okay, they don't join them to do uncovert things, because then what's the point of joining the agencies if you're not going to get to be covert? That's what they do. Okay? They do it all under the guise of national security, blah, blah, blah. And so guys go in rooms, and it's quite possible that they're in this room creating these things. Remember the story of Matt Boylan? Matt worked for NASA, and he said that he did graphic artwork there. He did surrealist painting, and that they hired lots of graphic artists there to do exactly this type of thing. Okay, so put 2 and 2 together. There's a manipulation going on. How much? I don't know. Maybe 5%, maybe 10%, maybe 100%, maybe none. Maybe this is exactly the way it is. But I know that there's a lot of speculation out there. I know there's a lot of evidence suggesting that this might not be what we think it is, that somebody might be manipulating this, and we're just playing along because, well, we're just silly people. We don't know any better. Okay, so there you go. That's our UFO news for today. Let's jump away. I'll be back. Stay tuned.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of them.
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The evidence is overwhelming. Step past your fear, take a look. Illuminati lies keep growing, but they're losing from your eyes. And wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up.
All right, jumping back in. Ready to continue, because I've got a lot more to get to here. All right. If you've listened to the show long enough, one thing you know that I don't like are liars. I don't like people that lie. I think it's unnecessary. We live in a world where lies simply ruin things. We live in a world where too many lies over too many years have caused the problems that we're in, and yet lies continue. What we're seeing during the course of this election process is we're seeing a difference between truth and lies. Both sides have been lying for a long time, the Republicans and the Democrats. Both sides have been manipulating people through the media. The media is supposed to be an unbiased source, but they're not. They operate as a branch of both the Republican and the Democratic Party. Both parties have been locked up for a long time because they've got this media control where they're able to then do whatever they want to do. And over the years, as they've spread out more and more, they have more influence in various sectors of life. So we have a Justice Department which has been corrupted. We have the IRS which has been corrupted. We've had on and on. Every branch we can think of, it's been corrupted. The judicial branch. And it's being corrupted in ways that most Americans aren't aware of because the mainstream media chooses to lie to people. They think that they're somehow immune for it. Well, there's a big reason because the mainstream media is in bed with all of these problem makers. Okay? They're in bed with them. They get their money from them. They're not out for the American people. Funny thing is, these people that work for CNN or Fox or MSNBC, they think that, or CBS or ABC, think somehow that they must be immune from all of this. They think that they can lie to the American people about the problems in the world, and the problems are never going to come knocking on their own front door. But they will, and they will find out that they've been used over and over and over again. Look at the problems Fox News is having. We have one allegation from Gretchen Carlson that of sexual harassment, and then you have a second allegation, and now you've got a division where she's gone because of these allegations. Roger Ailes is also gone. But then you have all of these people who want to leave Fox News and go with Roger Ailes, and I guess they're going to leave Rupert Murdoch high and dry. So it shows that there's obviously no loyalty there at Fox. No honor among thieves. They're all there. They're all disrespectful individuals who are lying, lying, lying. And then you got, Megyn Kelly, the rumor coming out, Megyn Kelly, that she has been donating to the Clinton Foundation, to the Clinton campaign, along with others there at Fox News. Shepard Smith is also named as one who is donating to their cause. There's also the rumor that Megyn Kelly is going to be going to CNN sometime in the near future. We'll see how these pan out. Rumors sometimes start off as simply that, rumors, but then as people investigate, they find out there's truth to them. One of the things that I really don't like about this is the fighting that's going on. I hear a lot of people criticizing Donald, saying he needs to be more presidential. Let's give you a reality check here. And I want you, for the next couple minutes while I'm discussing this, put yourself in Donald Trump's shoes. You're a multi-billionaire. Multi-billionaire. You can do whatever you want in life. You have no need to have any hassles in life. You got more money. You can just kick back and enjoy the rest of your life without any hassles. But he decided to get involved with this race. Now, he's not an insider. He hasn't been involved in the inside of what's going on with Washington. So he's considered an outsider, and anything he has to say that they find they don't really care for, because he, as an outsider, is not beholden to all of the interest that they are beholden to. And because he has been one of those that is invested in this, he understands how the game works because he knows who's been taking the money and who hasn't over all of the years. So now we have, you're Donald Trump, you're up on stage, you've got 16 other competitors fighting against you. On top of that, you've got Fox News fighting against you, MSNBC against you, CNN against you, ABC, CBS, all the media is about you, no matter what you say. They're attacking you, they're attacking your wife, they're attacking your kids. How would you respond if you were Donald Trump in the midst of all of that attack? And then they continue on and on and on, and it's ruthless. The most recent attack that we're hearing about is the attack of the father of this soldier, the Gold Star soldier, who came to the event and he attacked Donald Trump up on stage. There was no need for this. Donald Trump had nothing to do with his son's death. Donald Trump had nothing to do with it whatsoever. And yet this man got up there and decided to become political. You know why? Because he was used. You can read these stories about him now saying he just wants to get out of this controversy. Well, guess what? Too bad. You threw yourself into it. You threw yourself into it. You disrespected, in my opinion, your son by going up there and making this political when it had nothing to do with politics. He died for this country. He was a hero. He went out and fought for this country. So why is the father disrespecting the son by going out there and speaking such horrible things as he's saying? This father didn't fight for our country. The son did. So let's focus on the fact the son was a hero, but the father's not a hero. Father may have been the father to a hero, but he's not the hero. And I'm going to show you some stuff right now to what he's connected to, like the Muslim Brotherhood. See, he wants to get out of this now because he opened his mouth, and people are pointing out all of the inconsistencies, the things he had to say, and finding out the connections he truly has. Let's take a look at some of these, shall we? Because the mainstream media certainly isn't going to point it out to you. This is over at Breitbart. It says, I was joking. Just joking. Media Apoplectic. As Khizr Khan attack on Donald Trump goes down in flames. Mainstream media figures from the New York Times to Huffington Post to CNN are apoplectic, meaning angry or like angry. Monday, as their latest attack on Donald Trump, the Republican nominee has crumbled yet again under the slightest bit of scrutiny. Specifically, the newest line of attack to fall apart the criticism of Trump over Khizr Khan, the Muslim Gold Star father who spoke at the Democratic National Convention last week. Over the weekend and for the past few days, Khan spoke alongside his wife Ghazala Khan and their son, U.S. Army Captain Haimana Khan, who was killed in Iraq in 2004. Media-wide reporters, editors, producers, and anchors have tried to lay criticism on Trump over the matter. They thought that they had a good one, a specific line of attack that pitted Trump against the military and specifically showed him as a big meanie racist in the process. But as Breitbart News showed in the Monday midday, that clearly was not the case. Khizr Khan had all sorts of financial, legal, and political connections to the Clintons through his old law firm, the mega DC firm Hogan Lovells LLP. Let me read that again. That Khizr Khan, the one who is up there on stage, disrespecting his son by making his son sacrifice something political. He has all sorts of financial, legal, and political connections to the Clintons through his old law firm, the mega DC firm Hogan Lovells LLP. That firm did Hillary Clinton's taxes for years, starting when Khan still worked there, involving his own website matters firm-wide back in 2004. It was also represented for years the government of Saudi Arabia and the United States. Saudi Arabia, of course, is a Clinton Foundation donor, which, along with mega bundlers of thousands upon thousands of political donations to both Hillary Clinton's campaign in 2008 and 2016, and plays right into the Clinton cash narrative. Well, as it goes through, it talks about what CNN and the media failed to represent. So there was a series of questions posed to them by Breitbart. They weren't answered. They asked them. They said, because here we have a statement. Let me back up. This is an important part here. Earlier on Monday, CNN host Kate Bolden attacked the panel with three anti-Trump analysts on. Scotty Nell Hughes, the only Trump supporter present. Baldwin admitted she had not done research about Khan. She said, I have no idea what you're talking about, what law firm he's connected to. Baldwin, a CNN anchor, plainly admitted on live television. Okay, so they hadn't done their work. So they posed a question. Posed this. Kate Bowles admitted that she hadn't seen anything. The CNN plan in the future to discuss about his connections to Hillary. The CNN plan to focus that he runs a law firm that basically benefits from the opposition to Donald Trump. And has CNN done any digging into any of this? Okay, and goes on. So I'm going to leave this for you to read. Bottom line, that man who went up there, Khizr Khan, may be the father of a son who got a gold medal. Again, the son got the gold medal. The son, the father and the mother didn't get the gold medal. They received the gold medal because apparently he's not around to receive that because he was killed by Muslim extremists. The very thing Donald Trump is warning people about is what killed their son. But instead of pointing the finger at the extremist or the war machine that put their son in harm's way, he wants to point his finger at Donald Trump, who wasn't even in politics at that time, was against the war. So you could see it's a political thing here. How disrespectful of this man to disrespect his son, because he could have gone up there and he could have given honor to his son, but he didn't do that. He decided to do that and throw dirt at somebody. And now he wants to get out of it because he realizes, oh, they're looking into him. Didn't think very far. He just wanted to attack Donald. That's all he wanted to do. And the media supported it. I hope that this man, Mr. Khan, is realizing now how disrespectful the media has been to him and how they have used him. And it's too bad that he's been used. But people get used all the time by the media. Need to smarten up, folks. So Alan West wrote a letter. This is an awesome letter. I'm going to read this because I know that it's not being read on any of the mainstream. I have a personal message for the Muslim father whose son was killed in Iraq. Everyone's talking about the speech delivered by Mr. Khizr Khan, accompanied by his wife Ghazala at the DNC, that focused on the loss of son, U.S. Army Captain Huma Khan. Alan West had something to say about this man. It appears things have devolved into a level of immaturity relating to the speech that I believe that there's a need for clear analysis of Mr. Khan's address and what he should have presented. First, let me offer my condolences to the Khan family for their sacrifice, as they are now an American Gold Star family. Their son and I share an unbreakable bond. We both served our nation, and along with 3 other generations in my family took the oath to support and defend the Constitution and serve in combat zones. Yes, sir, Mr. Khan, I've read our Constitution and firmly recognize the preeminent responsibility of our federal government is to provide for the common defense. I also comprehend the relationship between the 3 branches of government, separation of powers, checks and balances, co-equal branches of government. I would offer simple recommendations to Mr. Khan. Perhaps you should have asked President Barack Obama if he had read the Constitution. Undoubtedly, you would agree that we have witnessed a few unconstitutional actions from him. And while you were at it, Mr. Khan, perhaps you could have asked Hillary Clinton about handling classified information, since I'm sure your son, Captain Khan, had at a minimum a secret clearance. I don't think your son would have been able to do well from his careless mishandling of classified materials and information simply excused. Perhaps Mr. Khan could have addressed the necessity for high standards of honor, integrity, and character in a commander-in-chief. Also, I found it interesting, Mr. Khan, that you and your wife, an American Gold Star family, would take the stage to support a sitting president and one desiring to be president who had abandoned Americans in a combat zone and lied about it. I tend to believe that if alive, your son would consider that type of behavior abhorrent and deplorable, or perhaps, as it seems, your speech was politically driven and not based on principle. After all, you did take the stage before a crowd that disrespected a Medal of Honor recipient. Is that cool with you? You see, I understand, Mr. Khan, that your son and your family are Muslims, and Muslims do indeed serve in our armed forces. But in the military, I know we do not celebrate that which divides, but rather that which unites. And what is it that unites us as soldiers, sailors, airmen, marines? It is service. It is service above self, commitment to something greater than the individual, and sacrifice to our country and comrades in arms. Now let's be honest, Mr. Khan. Those of us with knowledge could just as easily bring attention to Sergeant Hassan Karim Akbar and Major Nidal Hassan, both Muslims serving the U.S. Army. Just as you celebrated your Muslim son's sacrifice, there are others who could give testimony to their loss due to these Muslim soldiers. And I could use lowercase reference to them, soldiers, because they dishonored the oath and were traitors to our code of honor. Your son was not, but that had nothing to do with him being a Muslim. He was an American soldier. So, Mr. Khan, since you had such an immense stage, what should you have addressed? You should have taken the time to explain how humble and thankful you are to live in America. You should have mentioned how honored your son was and the pride you felt knowing he was serving your adopted country. You should have explained to America and to the world what killed your son, the ideology of Islamic fascism. You could have told us all why it needed to be defended and that we needed a commander-in-chief who would not abandon Americans in combat, but ensure that they were supported in order to defeat this scourge. Let's see if we can finish the rest of it here. Pretty good so far, right? Okay, let's see here. There we go. Okay, Mr. Khan, you could have taken these words spoken by a proven, courageous, and resilient leader, Sir Winston Churchill, who had a U.S. naval vessel named after him, and expounded after them. How dreadful are the curses which Mohammedan lay at the Voltaire's, besides the fanatical frenzy which is as dangerous in a man as a hydrophobia in a dog, there is a fearful fatalistic apathy. The effects are apparent in many countries: impoverished habits, slovenly systems of agriculture, sluggish methods of commerce, and insecurity of properly exist whenever the followers of the Prophet rule or live. A degraded sensualism deprives this life of its grace and refinement, the next of its dignity and sanctity. The fact that in Mohammedan law every woman must belong to some man as his absolute property, either as a child, a wife, or a concubine, must delay the final extinction of slavery until the faith of Islam has ceased to be a great power among men. Individual Muslims may show splendid qualities, but the influence of the religion paralyzes the social development of those who follow it. No stronger retrograde force exists in the world, far from being moribund. Mohammedanism is a militant and proselytizing faith. It is also spread throughout Central Africa, raising fearless warriors at every step, and if not, Christianity is sheltered in the strong arms of science, the science against which it had vainly struggled. The civilization of modern Europe might fall as fell the civilization of ancient Rome. So now we can understand why Barack Obama, back to the letter, why Barack Obama had Churchill's bust removed from the Oval Office. Those were the insightful, prescient, and relevant words of Sir Winston Churchill from the first edition of his book, The River War. Mr. Khan, this is what you should have addressed. It would have been so very well received. You could have told the world and defined the enemy that killed your son. Instead, my assessment is that you will be remembered as a political pawn. You could have taken time to explain the words written by Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, dated March 28, 1786, to U.S. Minister of Foreign Affairs John Lay, reporting on their meeting with the ambassador Tripoli. We, Adams and Jefferson, took the liberty to make some inquiries concerning the ground of their pretensions to make war upon nations who had done them no injury. Oops, okay, here we go. We considered all our friends had done no wrong and given no provocation. Note that they, the nations who have done them no injury. The ambassador answered us as it was founded in the laws of the Prophet Muhammad, that it was written in the Quran that all nations who should not have acknowledged their authority were sinners, and it was their right and duty to make war upon them whenever they could be found, and to make slaves of all that they could take as prisoners, and every Muslim who was not slain in battle was sure to go to paradise. Mr. Khan, you had a moment to speak on history and provide us clarity and truth from a Muslim man who lost his son, an American soldier, to Islamists. You could have clarified the difference between your son and Sergeant Hassan Karim Akbar and Major Nidal Hassan. That, sir, to me, was a missed opportunity. Then again, maybe you had no intention of using the platform to provide you as a teachable moment, but rather a politically influenced opportunity for gain. Mr. Khan, you had the chance to be the face and the voice of the Muslim family that stood with the fundamental principles and values of liberty, freedom, and democracy upon which this republic was founded, in which you have found a home. You could have articulated how a 7th century savage and barbaric ideology, inspired by a murderous warlord, psychopath, and by a modern-day standards a pedophile, was not a radical but a leader of a militant phase of Islam introduced after the 622 AD event referred to as Al-Hijra. Mr. Khan, I grieve the loss for your son. However, I grieve even more that you used his sacrifice and loss as nothing more than a damn political stunt. May God forgive you for it. Very powerful words, and I completely agree with each and every one. This man was used as a political pawn, but not only was he used, when we look at his background and his connections to Hillary Clinton, you have to wonder, was he used or did he intentionally do it? And if he intentionally did that, did he spit upon his own son's grave in doing so? Certainly seems like it. Just remember, as you keep hearing all the stuff about the Gold Star family, there may be some truth to that, but remember, the son won the Gold Star, not the mother, not the father. Because the father isn't acting like a Gold Star father out there disrespecting this country, disrespecting things. That's not Gold Star treatment. That's not Gold Star family. But the son who went to fight the battle, he was the Gold Star recipient. So let's keep in mind his sacrifice, what he did, and let's separate that what from the father is doing to not only disrespect his son, but disrespect America as well. Very important. And if you have an issue with me saying this, I don't really care. Okay? I'm not hung up on political correctness. I'm not hung up if you have an issue with what I have to say, if you don't agree with it. So what? I'm tired of the lies, and I'm going to do my best to speak what I understand are the truths that are taking place. And if you don't like it, too frickin' bad. Too frickin' bad. All right. Here's a story. Exclusive. Caddell blast Reuters back rigging polls to show Clinton winning. Speaking exclusively to Breitbart News, political polling pioneer Pat Caddell said the Reuters news service was guilty of an unprecedented act of professional malpractice after it announced Friday that it has dropped the neither option from the presidential campaign tracking polls and went back to reconfigured previously released polls to present different results with the reinterpretation of the neither responses in this polls. In other words, they cheated. So Reuters, an agency that has been trusted as a news source throughout America and the world, has now been found to be cheating. What a sad day for journalism and for news, because now Reuters can no longer be trusted. We put them up there with Fox News and CNN and NBC and MSNBC and CBS and ABC. So what does that leave us with if we don't have any media that can be trusted? We have the alternative media. Where will you find them? Basically the internet. What are they trying to do to the internet? Shut it down and regulate it. Why? Because the only place where you can get truthful information still comes through the alternative media, which is found on the internet. So they're trying to shut that down to stifle free speech. Meanwhile, you've got all kind of young millennials who are willing to give up their free speech because they are too young to remember the battles that went on for free speech in their life. These young kids these days are destroying what their ancestors created. The young black kids in school today are destroying years' worth of work that their ancestors before them tried to put in place, fighting against segregation, fighting against all of the problems that went on with race relations. Things had improved so much, but now we got these young black kids in groups, Black Lives Matter organization, which are wanting to resegregate people, which are doing all of this nonsensical things that their ancestors fought against. They're just, since I've already used the term spitting on their graves, might as well use it again. They're just spitting on the graves of their ancestors who came before them. And then when you try to bring any of this up to them, most of them have been so badly mistaught that they can barely string together two sentences, let alone understand the history of what came before them. It's a bad situation, folks. The schools keep getting worse, the teachers keep getting worse, the students keep getting worse, the education gets worse, and people are not remembering the history that took place. We got a problem if we can't even remember history back prior to the 90s, yet many of these kids in school can't even remember back that far. We got a problem. And it's all over. So as I said before, you put yourself in Donald Trump's shoes and look at all the attacks coming from every way, shape, and form. They're now attacking his wife. It's just really pitiful what's going on. Now, is Donald Trump the be-all, end-all? Probably not. But can he do and fix the problems that we have? I feel very confident that he can. I feel very confident. And the more I see government officials standing up against him, the more I see corporations and other world leaders, the more I realize he's the right man for the job. Because the ones who are standing up against him are the ones who know if he gets into office, their gravy train, their corruption is going to come to an end. And that's why they're fighting against him. So every single American who is joining in the fight against Trump is joining with those who are corrupt. And that's how they've trapped people. They've got you trapped. So the Democrats, It's funny how the word Democrats comes so close to the word demon, isn't it? The Democrats, they're out there lying, cheating, stealing. You got people connected to Lucifer. You got a president who blasphemes what God has to say, who is absolutely a Muslim sympathizer because he is one of them. And we've got Americans brain dead and blind to the whole thing that's happening. One more piece before I move on. Here's from Truth in Media, Ben Swan. If you've seen any of his stuff, you know the amount of research this man does. Fox News, one of Hillary Clinton's biggest donors for the best part of 2 decades. To many, it seems contrary to intuition that Fox News could be part of one of the Clinton's family's largest donors for the better part of 2 decades. Check your intuition at the door. It's true, according to the Federal Election Commission and the Center for Responsive Politics data. Okay, so this came from the FEC, the Federal Election Commission, and the Center for Responsible Politics. According to this, 20th Century Fox, which is the parent company, 20th Century Fox News Corporation, has donated more than $3 million to Clinton family accounts. Overall, this lands Fox as the Clintons' 9th largest donor over the course of the family's political involvement. Okay? Should it really infuriate the conservative viewership of Fox that the company also donates to Democrats? After all, are political parties not constantly blaming media outlets for being biased? What would it say about the state of media in America if companies and their journalists only donated to one specific party? More troubling, what does it say about Americans that some are upset over the fact that Fox News and its employees are donating to Democrats, in addition to Republicans? Do we really want our media to be non-biased, or do we simply want it to follow our own bias? So here you are on this list. NewsWeb, SlimFast, American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Coca-Cola, Goldman Sachs, Citigroup, Service Employees International Union, Communications Workers, 20th Century Fox/News Corp, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Laurel Space, Walt Disney, DreamWorks, Time Warner, AT&T, United Food, National Education Association, American Federation of Teachers, Cisco Systems, Joseph Seagrams and Sons. These are all people who are donating to Hillary Clinton. You heard many in there that are influencing society, don't you? DreamWorks, Time Warner, AT&T, Walt Disney, 20th Century Fox, all influencing humanity. But what is their common connection? Corruption. They're all connected to Hillary Clinton, which is all connected to the corrupt machine, which is all lying to the American people because they want to bring communism in. If anybody continues to believe this, then you are your own worst enemy, because the truthfulness is right in front of your eyes. The truthfulness is in front of your eyes. So are you going to be your own worst enemy? Or are you going to wake up and understand how you have been lied to? That would be a nice thing if you figured that one out. But it seems that we live in a world where Americans and people are not really too hip on being smart these days. They rather be dumb and dumbed down and play their Pokemon Go games. Okay, so we know all of this. We can do 2 things with it. We can let this information go, roll off us like water off a duck's back, or we could do something to bring this information forward to others. Sharing it. That's what people say. How could we do anything about this? You share it. You keep putting the information out there. You keep the barrage of information going out there till eventually it breaks down the barriers, till eventually people get it. Americans, I know, are pretty slow on sometimes figuring things out. But I know that once Americans get it and realize they've been screwed, they take action. They get pretty upset. I've talked to a few people about the Fox News situation. They're having a hard time dealing with it. They're having a hard time dealing with it because they are a Fox News supporter, true and true. And their response was, well, maybe they made a mistake and maybe they only gave the money to the Clinton Foundation instead of the campaign or the family. Said, but they're corrupt, so what difference does it make? They agreed, yeah, you're right. What difference does it make in that regard? They're all corrupt. So maybe they made a mistake. Maybe they didn't realize they were corrupt. I said, really? You thinking Fox News doesn't know the Clinton family and foundation are corrupt and they just didn't know that? Then how is it that they are a news agency that they wouldn't know that, but other people do? Seems like they wouldn't be a very good news agency if they didn't. Again, remember the year 1917. The Council on Foreign Relations was put in power. They bought up 25 of the largest media outlets of that time and placed into each one of them an editor, somebody that would report back to their organization. Therefore, the Council on Foreign Relations could control the flow of went through the media. They could control the flow of information that goes to the people, to the public, who would never know because they would think, who could possibly control all 25 of these media? Unaware of the fact that they are controlled. Now, all these years later, 100 years since they began to take their control, they've consolidated their control now where there are only 6 corporations, 6, that control all of the media. Everything goes through them. So there are small channels. It's probably about 90 to 95, 97%. I saw numbers that high that's controlled. So there's still the percentage that isn't. And these people that are controlling things, these people that are lying, this is the problem. So if we keep informing that, if we keep keeping our attention on the positivity, if we keep our attention on sending light into the areas to dissipate the darkness, that's what we can do. Share this information with folks. Share it with everybody. Look, here's something really important that I think we need to understand right here. As you could see, there's quite a power grab that has occurred in this country and across the planet. Quite a power grab. In the United States, we could see how deep the corruption goes. There have been times throughout the years where there has been an independent candidate or somebody like a businessman. Ross Perot was one who made a challenge. But they can only go so far. Donald Trump has gone farther than any of them have ever gone before. So far that he's actually become the nominee, the outsider, different from all of the insider politicians. I'm guessing that when this process is over, they will have fixed all of the ways in which someone was able to get through. So this might not happen again. This opportunity to storm the fortress, to break through the walls and the barriers that are happening, this might be it. There might not be another chance, because they may seal up all of the places where they know that there was weakness that allowed others to break through their boundaries. And I say boundaries because there are boundaries. In the same way you hear Trump talking about a wall, there's a huge wall around the corrupt government, and they don't want anybody getting into it. Except Donald Trump has moved and gotten through that wall. Trumpets. Remember the walls of Jericho? Remember what happened there? They marched around the wall 7 times, and then what did they do? They blew their horns, they blew their trumpets, and the walls of Jericho came crumbling down. The walls came crumbling down. So let's understand that there's something bigger going on here. Let's understand that the enemy is quite large. The beast is quite large and incorporates religion and politics, government, social media, every facet of life, sports, every facet of life is affected. You may think that this is just another election, but I'm telling you, this isn't just another election. What happens at this election is going to determine the fate of America. You may think that's dire. You may think that, oh, that's just crazy talk. I'm not the only one saying this. This is for the fate of America, because we already are moving in a direction of socialism and communism. Now, if Hillary Clinton gets in office, she will continue that until we come to the point where we are going to be a communist socialistic state. She wants to regulate and deal with the guns. Again, not supposed to do that. She wants to take away from people their rights to anything. It's just another example of the corrupt machine continuing on. It's been going on and on and on and on and on for many, many, many years. It's not just Hillary. It's not just Obama. It was the Bushes before him. It was the Clinton before there. We are the ones who can fix this, but in order to fix it, we have to get on the side of truth. We have to stop all of this nonsense of, I'm on the winning side. There's no winning side if America loses. If America loses, the Democrats and the Republicans both lose. There will be no winning side. If our country is sold out to foreign investors and Americans no longer have say in what goes on in their country, there's no winning side. The only winning side is if we step up and stop accepting the lies. But we've got too much to fight against. Too many agitators that are wanting to see us fall. So are we going to fall or are we going to rise? What are we going to do? Are we going to fall? Or are we going to continue to stand up? That's the big question, my friends. So we can affect the change. We can affect the change, but it starts with each and every one of us. Here's an article talks about how to understand our aura. Because our aura is our energy field, and the energy field that we put out is what goes out into the world and affects things in the world. It's very important. From Laura Starr, Spirit Science. What colors you surround yourself with speaks volumes about the person you are, even though you may not realize it. Haven't you noticed that we're all attracted to certain colors while we shy away from others? Well, some people believe that we are not good, yet unconscious reasons for that. One of these people is the famed psychic and sleeping prophet Edgar Cayce. Even though he lived more than a century ago, Edgar Cayce knew things about the past, present, and future that no man could have known without special abilities. Each one of his abilities was worth a full article of itself, so I won't delve into them today. Chances are you probably already know of Edgar Cayce anyway, so I'm just going to discuss what he claimed he learned about colors while he was accessing the Akashic records. One of the last books Edgar was working on before his death was a book on colors and the human aura. Edgar could see that the colors of the energy around people, and he believed each color he saw represented an aspect of that person. Among others, here's an excerpt from his essay. The book was called Auras, an essay on the meaning of colors. What do auras mean to the majority of people who cannot see them? You ask? Well, the majority of people do see them, I believe, but do not realize it. I believe anyone can figure out what another person's aura is in a general way. If he will take note of the colors which a person habitually uses in the matter of clothing and decoration. How many times have you said of a woman, why does she wear that color? It does not suit her. How many times have you said that? How beautiful she looks in that dress. The color is just right for her. She was made to wear it. In both cases, you have been reading an aura. The first woman was wearing a color which clashed with her aura. The second woman was wearing a color which harmonized with her aura. All of you know what colors are helpful to your friends and bring out the best in them, that they are colors that beat with the same vibrations as the aura and thus strengthen and heighten it. By watching closely, you can even discover changes in your friends as they reflect in a shift in the color predominating their wardrobe. Okay, so let me see if I can get a base thing. Red, color of the base chakra, considered a color of power and strength. Indicates force, vigor, and energy. Orange, color of the sun, vital and a good color generally, indicates thoughtfulness and consideration of others. Yellow, second primary color. When it is the color yellow, it indicates health as well-being. Such people take good care of themselves, don't worry, and learn easily. Good mentality is natural to them. Green, pure emerald green, particularly if it is a dash of blue, is the color of healing. Helpful, strong, friendly, the color of doctors and nurses, who invariably have it a lot in their auras. Blue has always been the color of spirit, the symbol of contemplation, prayer, and heaven. The sky is blue because of the gas molecules in the air by the light rays from the sun. Indigo and violet indicate seekers of all types, people who are searching for a cause or religious experience. And white, the perfect color of course, is white, and that is we are all striving for. If our souls were in perfect balance, then all our color vibrations would blend and it would have an aura of pure white. If you want to know more, please check back to see that you at the ARE Institute. All right, so very interesting. So our energy field is important as we learn to read our energy fields, learn to read the energy fields of others. We could see what people are putting out into the world, maybe inadvertently or maybe fully aware of what they're doing. Either way, we're all responsible for the energies we have within us and that we put into the world. All right, that brings us to our meditation for today. So go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. And take another deep breath. And exhale again. Another breath. And exhale. Now, let's imagine ourselves walking along a path. And we're walking along this path and we're seeing the world as it is. We see the good things that are taking place, and we see the negative things that are occurring. And we keep walking. We see those who are putting out positive vibes into the world, and we see those who are putting negativity into the world. And we keep moving and walking. And we observe all sorts of anomalies, sometimes the opposite of each other. And we realize this is a world filled with many opposites. From what we see to what we feel to what we think to the way we believe. And so as we move through the world, we learn to notice the difference between the things that are opposites. And we understand that even things are opposite and different, there is also some similarities. So we look for the things that are similar and connect us together. And in that we find truth and spirit deeply embedded in ourselves, in our being. And as we realize that truth and spirit are the connecting points, we simply expand our thoughts of this truthfulness. And as such, we spread this idea of truth from one individual to the next. And as people feel this sense of truth, it connects with that truth that they know deep down inside. And as we share the message and the feeling of spirit with each and every individual, they also connect and realize this is a connecting source. And so as we are aware of the connections of truth and spirit in our lives, we find that by simply expressing these into the world, we can make the world a better place. So as we go forth this day, let the subconscious mind continue on the journey of sharing truths, speaking truths, and understanding the difference when there are opposing points of view that are leading in the wrong direction. Let us keep espousing the truth as we go throughout this day. And let's bring the conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3 coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2 coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1 coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. And exhale. And open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That's the show for today. Truthfulness. We have Mars in Sagittarius energizing that idea of truthfulness. Let's go with it. Let's deal with the truth. Look, sometimes the lies are difficult to deal with. Sometimes accepting the truth over the lies is a challenge. But once we get to the truthfulness, we can deal with the fact that we were lied to. We just got to get to the truth. And we've been lied to a lot, my friends. But I know you know the truth. And I know that you know people that know the truth. And I know that they know people that know the truth, and on and on and on. The only difference is we're not following the truth. We're listening to those who are telling lies. So let's stop listening to the liars. Let's understand the game that the media and the politicians and the political machine is playing upon the people. Let's not buy into all of these lies. Let's understand the truth. The truth, first and foremost, that we are all children of the Creator. Children of the Creator. There's our common connection right there. All the other differences we have is about one person feeling the need to win more than the other. So we have this game back and forth of my politician is winning. Haha, no, my politician is winning. Nobody's winning because they want to cheat you and steal from you. We need to wake up, my friends. Today's a day to wake up. It's a good day for waking up, isn't it? Let's do it. Because we only have so much time. We truly do. America's on its last legs. If you don't notice that, then take a look around, see what's happening. We're not going to be the same country if we don't grab a hold of what we're doing. If we allow ourselves to keep going down this path, then just say bye-bye to America. Tell your kids that you apologize because you didn't leave them the good country that your parents left you. And we'll just continue on and realize that the bad guys are going to win. Unless, of course, we're willing to stand up. And if we are, I know we can stand up against the lies. We just have to be strong. And sometimes we got to fight. Sometimes we have to defend. We got to know when is the time for what. Right now is the time for truth and sharing the truth with the world, with each other. So just keep sharing, just keep sharing, just keep sharing. When people think they've had enough, share with them even more. Just keep sharing the truth, my friends. That's what it's all about. That's it. I'll be back. Have an awesome day. I love you. Keep loving each other. Talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.